Have you ever pondered about the purity of the water you drink every day? It's a question that we often overlook, but one of paramount importance. Water, the elixir of life, is fundamental to our existence and our health. It's the lifeblood of our bodies, and yet, how often do we stop to consider its quality? As we delve into the topic of water pollution, it's essential to recognize its potential impact on the water we consume daily. Imagine a world where every sip of water carries with it the burden of harmful chemicals, waste, and contaminants. This isn't just a hypothetical scenario. For many around the globe, it's an unfortunate reality. Water pollution is more than just a buzzword. It's a pressing issue that affects the very essence of our lives and the health of our planet. The sad reality is, our water bodies are not as pristine as they once were. The facts about water pollution are alarming. From our vast oceans to our smallest streams, the impact of pollution is far-reaching and undeniable. Recent studies have revealed that over 70% of our planet's water bodies are polluted to some extent. That's more than 2/3 of our rivers, lakes, and oceans that are carrying harmful pollutants, affecting not only aquatic life but also humans. In fact, water pollution is a silent killer. Each year, an estimated 3.5 million people lose their lives due to water-related diseases, most of which are caused by polluted water. Imagine filling a large stadium 70 times over. That's the number of lives lost annually due to water pollution. These deaths are preventable, yet they continue to rise, underscoring the urgent need for action. And then we come to plastic. Oh, the plastic, it's everywhere. It's in our homes, our workplaces, our landfills, and most disturbingly, it's in our oceans. The United Nations reports that every year, 8 million metric tons of plastic end up in our oceans. That's roughly the equivalent of dumping a garbage truck full of plastic into the ocean every minute. This plastic doesn't just disappear, it breaks down into smaller and smaller pieces, becoming what we call microplastics. And these microplastics are ingested by marine animals, entering the food chain and eventually making their way back to us. So, when we pollute our water bodies, we are essentially polluting ourselves. Water pollution is not just an environmental issue, it's a health issue, an economic issue, a social issue, and a moral issue. It's a complex problem with far-reaching implications, and it's happening right now all around us. These figures are not just numbers, they are a dire warning of the state of our planet. They are a call to action, a plea for change. The time to act is not tomorrow or the next day. The time to act is now. So who or what is to blame for this growing concern? The answer to this question might be a hard pill to swallow. The culprit is not a single entity, but a multitude of factors. It's an amalgamation of our daily activities, industrial progress, and the lack of efficient waste management systems. Let's start with industrial waste. Factories and industries are major contributors to water pollution. They discharge harmful chemicals and waste into nearby water bodies without proper treatment. This not only affects the quality of water, but also the life that thrives within it. Next, we have plastic waste. The convenience of disposable plastic products has led to a surge in their use. However, what we often overlook is that these non-biodegradable substances end up in our rivers and oceans, causing untold harm to marine life and ecosystems. Then, there are oil spills. These catastrophic events have devastating effects on the environment. The slick, toxic substance suffocates marine life, causing massive die-offs and long-term damage to fragile ecosystems. And let's not forget untreated sewage. In many parts of the world, sewage is directly dumped into rivers and oceans without proper treatment. This pumps a hazardous cocktail of bacteria, viruses, and other pathogens into our water bodies. But herein lies the crux of the problem. It's human activity that plays a significant role in all these issues. Our industrial progress, our reliance on disposable products, our consumption of fossil fuels, and our lack of efficient waste management practices, all of these contribute to the pollution of our water bodies. It's easy to point the finger at big corporations or governments, but we must remember that every product we consume, every piece of plastic we use and throw away, every drop of oil we use to fuel our cars, they all contribute to the problem. It's clear that our actions have a significant impact on the health of our water bodies. We need to acknowledge this and start making conscious decisions to reduce our impact on this precious resource. The effects of water pollution are far-reaching. This statement rings true when we consider the extensive damage that contaminated water can cause to both human health and the environment. Let's start with the aquatic ecosystems. Water pollution can devastate these habitats, leading to a staggering loss of aquatic life. From the smallest plankton to the largest whales, no creature is immune. Toxins in the water can poison fish and other marine animals, causing population numbers to plummet. In turn, this affects the entire food chain, disrupting the balance of life underwater. But the consequences of water pollution don't stop at the water's edge. They also seep into our lives, impacting our health. Contaminated water is a breeding ground for bacteria, viruses, and parasites. When humans consume or come into contact with polluted water, they risk contracting a range of diseases. Diarrhea, cholera, typhoid, and hepatitis are just a few examples of the illnesses that can be spread through polluted water. The World Health Organization estimates that every year, more than 2 million deaths are linked to unsafe water, sanitation, and hygiene. And then there's the environment at large. Water pollution doesn't just disrupt aquatic ecosystems, it also affects terrestrial ones. Polluted water can contaminate the soil, harm plants, and disrupt the habitats of terrestrial animals. Moreover, when toxins from water pollution enter the food chain, they can accumulate in animals' bodies, causing health problems and even death. But perhaps the most unsettling part is the feedback loop that water pollution can create. It doesn't just harm the environment in turn can strike back. For instance, when water pollution kills off certain species, it can unbalance ecosystems, leading to overgrowth of harmful algae that further pollute the water. So, let's not fool ourselves into thinking that water pollution is just an environmental issue. It's a human issue too. Because in the end, water pollution doesn't just harm nature, it strikes back at us. But it's not all doom and gloom. There is something each one of us can do. Imagine a world where each of us takes a step, however small, towards reducing water pollution. It's not a utopia, it's entirely achievable. Let's break down how we can make this happen. First up, let's talk about plastic. Plastic is a major pollutant in our waters, but we can curb this. By reducing our plastic use, we can significantly decrease the amount of plastic that ends up in our oceans and rivers. Opt for reusable shopping bags, water bottles, and containers. Say no to single-use plastic cutlery and straws. It might seem like a small change, but if each one of us adopts this, imagine the impact. Next, proper disposal of waste. It's easy to forget that what we flush down the drain or toss into the bin could end up in our water. Dispose of chemicals, paints, oils, and non-biodegradable materials responsibly. Don't flush medications or personal care products down the toilet, and always make sure your trash ends up in a proper waste bin, not on the street or tossed into a body of water. Finally, let's talk about water conservation. The less water we waste, the less contaminated water that ends up back in our water systems. Take shorter showers, fix leaks promptly, and consider using a rain barrel to collect water for your garden. Every drop saved is a victory in the fight against water pollution. Remember, these are just a few of the many steps we can take to reduce water pollution. It's about a collective effort, a shared responsibility. We need to change our habits, rethink our choices, and prioritize our planet's health. As we wrap up this scene, let's keep in mind that our actions today determine the state of our waters tomorrow. We have the power to make a difference. Let's use it wisely. Every effort, no matter how small, can make a huge difference. It's time to act, not just for ourselves, but for the generations to come. We've seen the unsettling facts, identified the culprits, and understood the severe consequences of water pollution. But knowing is not enough. We must take action. We must become catalysts for change in our own lives and in our communities. Let's start by educating ourselves and others about the importance of clean water and the damaging effects of pollution. Let's share this knowledge with our friends, families, and colleagues. Let's make our voices heard, support organizations that are fighting against water pollution. These groups are on the front line, working tirelessly to protect our water resources. They need our help. By donating, volunteering, or even spreading the word, about their work, we can make a significant difference. Let's not wait until our rivers run dry or our oceans become barren. Together, we can ensure that our water remains pure and safe for all.